Pronouns are she, her. And I would like to invite you to turn off anything that may distract you during our time today. If you have can put your devices on silent. Also, for those who have not been here before, just so you know where the emergency exits are. Obviously, you have the front door. We have the exit into the Memorial Garden, as well as out this way in case of any kind of emergency. I'm also reminded that we have our friends online this morning. If you are not feeling well, we invite you to join us online, and that way we can keep your germs at your house and not share with everybody else. We love to share, but not germs. And that is, I think those are the major announcements for this morning before we get settled in. We do like to have our committees provide an opportunity to give us any updates of what's going on before we get into our sort of sacred space. So if we have any committee chairs that would like to make an announcement, please feel free to use the microphone, or I can bring it to you.
Hello, I'm Chloe McElroy, not to be confused with Chloe Hatfield, who is amazing as well. The welcoming committee is working on putting together a rainbow celebration party. We still haven't fully presented it to the board, so don't get fully excited yet because they have to approve it. But we're looking to either do it on the 12th or 13th of June. We're kind of actually aiming more towards the 12th to tie it into the Pulse anniversary to celebrate and keep on dancing for them. So just keep it on your calendars. 12th, 13th might be the fun rainbow party to celebrate us becoming a welcoming congregation.
Good morning, Kelly Buchanan with the Marketing Committee. I would like to announce that the Marketing Committee will be hosting a film day. A film day will be after service on Sunday, July the 14th and July the 21st. So you might be thinking, what is a film day? Well, I want to share with you some details real quickly. We hope to get, our absolute dream would be 15 to 20 volunteers from our congregation, all the way from the board members to president to new members that have just joined. You know, you could be just joined recently. And the goal here is to promote a testimony from you. These testimonies will be recorded on an iPhone. The film will be anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. It'll be edited by Allison, who's also on our marketing chair. I will be sending out and promoting this event through our normal social media platforms, such as our notable newsletter, the website. We'll give you more information, release form as well. We want to get everyone to release. And our SAG contract. And your SAG contract, that's okay. Yeah, thank you, David. We will be providing a short prompt for you to think about, meaning that we would say something like, hello, my name is Kelly Buchanan. I've been a member for 16 years. And the reason I continue to be at this congregation is because da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, and we're going to provide you prompts when you actually register or sign up to have your testimony. My suggestion is to be creative as possible. If you've watched Instagram or TikTok, you know these reels can be fun and exciting and be very serious. So we're looking forward to a diversification. In addition to diversification, we'll be filming like in the Memorial Garden and the RE building here in the sanctuary, and we're going to hopefully be filming Laurie in the kitchen. So she doesn't know that yet, but. And the last thing is perhaps maybe you're shy, you don't want to be recorded and be on a video on our social media platforms. And okay. Any of the actors will read for that. Okay, all right. So we have another option for you, and that is you may have a very special quote that's close to your heart about how you feel about this congregation. And so we would do the same thing. We would post your quote. Kelly, this is Kelly Buchanan, member for so many years. This quote resonates with me, why I continue to be a member. And then we'll post your quote. So we're going to gather 15 to 20 of these testimonies. We're going to place them in a repository on our church Google Drive, and then we'll post those throughout the year. So look forward to an email coming your way if you're interested. Thank you. Yes, Chloe. Oh, yes, we hope he can.
Amazing.
Okay,
They have a lot to say.
okay, all right. Thank you.
Good morning, Reverend Tracie. General Assembly is coming up, and it is completely virtual this year. I have a poll up on the notable news to see if anyone is interested in watching the worships and the business processes here. If no one is interested, I will not be here, but I will be home on, watching it. Here's the catch, though. They have said that there are certain events you have to have registered attendees only, so that means we will not be able to show the Ware Lecture or the Synergy Worship or the Service of the Living Tradition. So the poll has been updated for that because someone asked. Some of us were just not asking before, but now that someone has asked and there is actual statements made, ethically I cannot cross that. So we will have, come check out the business of the association. We'll have a party about it if you're interested. So please check out the notable news for the link to that poll and let me know so that we can plan accordingly. Thank you.
Hey guys, Derek, Facilities and Grounds. We will have a work day on third Saturday in June. That would be June the 15th. We got a lot of stuff to do. It turns out that there was couple of trees, so if anybody has a chainsaw, and we're not filming the sequel to whatever that movie was. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Yeah. So any number of chainsaw massacre movies. Yeah. No massacres. But we do need help. There's a tree that needs to be taken down and two that need to be cut up. We have a couple of things that came up in our fire inspection, so we need to get those resolved. I really need some help on the 15th. Anybody who can make it. I think that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks. Oh, yeah, sorry. I knew I was forgetting something. Sorry. Is that okay? Yeah, so anybody knows somebody or has a lift? This doesn't look like the crowd that pulls a lift behind their truck. However, a big lift, right? Like a cherry picker kind of lift. If anybody knows somebody or has one, we need one because we got some banners to put up, and it's too tall for a ladder, right? Oh, I didn't say. I just assumed everybody knew. This one will start at 9, and it'll go until we're done, because we got a lot of stuff to do, including like Memorial Garden cleanup. So it's not all like chainsaws and hard stuff. But okay, all right, thanks.
Can you see this? Okay, this is the gray hymnal, and there's a bunch of them on the chairs. But the people who put the hymnals out on the chairs for us to use are noticing, and I'm the person who's delegated herself to bring it to your attention, that there aren't as many as there were. And that tells me that somebody has taken some of them home. And for some of you who do a lot of the planning for programs here, that may be sensible, but for others of you who do not need them at home, please bring them back because we need them here. Thank you.
Good morning, Miguel Rodriguez for SAC, Social Action Committee. Reverend James Reeb was an American white Unitarian Universalist minister from Boston, Massachusetts, who, while marching for civil rights, for the Voting Rights Act to pass in 1965 in Selma, Alabama, was beaten to death by segregationists. He was 38 years old. As Unitarian Universalists, we should honor memories of people who sacrificed so much for the vote. It only takes us, a few minutes, maybe get in our car, or maybe if we vote by mail, we don't even have to get out of the house. And so many people who died for our right to vote, we should honor their memory, these martyrs. In that vein, the Social Action Committee today is having a meeting at around noon after service, and we invite you to come. We will be discussing how we get the vote out. The vote is having a phone bank for the abortion Yes.
Vote yes on 4.
Yes on 4. It's on 4? Or is it 4? It's 4. Not 3. It's 4.
I'm assuming she knows.
3 is marijuana. Yeah, if you want to.
Yes on 3 as well, please.
3 and 4. 3 and 4. So we'll be discussing that, and there'll be phone banking as well. You can contact Marianne or myself as well. Was there anything else to that, Marianne? Okay, I think I got it. Yes. The date of the election. The date of the general election?
Where are they voting for this? Is that all part of the general election?
The general.
Yes, which is November 5th. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have got a lot of going on here, so please keep an eye out for the notable news. If for some reason you're not getting the notable news, you can send an email to me at President, and I can make sure that Colleen gets you on the list. I know sometimes people change email addresses, and we have to do some little magic to make sure you're getting it. So please let us know so you can keep up to date with everything that's going on in this place. So my opening words today are from Heather Janulis. She's a minister from Winchester, Massachusetts. And these words were given by her in honor of Memorial Day. Spirit of life and love, God of memory, mourning, and history, bring before us the truths of serving in war. Bring before us, in compassion and in gratitude, those who faced violence, so we may know peace. We remember these sacrifices through monuments. We remember these names carved into stone. Inscribe them in your hearts this day. Inscribe them in our conscience every day. And so, like the stone that bears their names, freedom from violence may endure in our nation and around the world. We will be having opening music, which is gathered here, number 389, and Gary and Janet will lead you in that.
Announcements first. This is going to be around, and many of you know this. It's a pretty popular tune. We're going to sing it through twice in unison, all together. And then this side, I'm going to lead this side. We're going to start off, and then the second side can follow Gary. And we're going to do the round part twice. So we'll sing the whole thing 4 times. And, hang on a second.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near.
You all sounded really good. Our chalice lighter today is Chase. Chase uses the pronouns he and him. He's 13 years old, and he's very happy that school is out for the summer. And as the light person, we'll go ahead and say the words. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. And we like to remember each week why we're gathered here, what's our purpose, so we say together our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and love, and to help one another. I want to take this opportunity to greet everybody once again. We are an eclectic congregation, as you can see. We have speakers from various denominations. We have speakers from our excellent educational institutions, from social action organizations, and also many services that are done by our own members here. So if you're visiting for the first time or once or twice, we invite you to come several times because it's different every week, which is one of the reasons, one of the things that drew me to Unitarian Universalism was that it was fresh and new every time that you came. We also want to say hello to our friends at home who are on Zoom. Remember, we have a growing and vibrant virtual family, so let's not forget about them. And if you'll take a moment to greet somebody, try to greet somebody that you may not know too well. If that means crossing the aisle, you may need to do that. Okay, we need to settle down. Shh. Shh. We can continue all these nice conversations afterward, where we have coffee and tea and maybe some special refreshments today. So please hang on to those conversations until a little time later on. Next in our service is our Joys and Concerns. This is an opportunity for anyone in the room to share with us a joy that may be going on in their life. We like to share our joys so that they multiply, or a concern that you may have. We hope that by sharing that concern, we can lessen the burden a little bit. So feel free to come to the microphone, otherwise I can bring it to you.
Hi. Miles.
What's your joy, Miles?
I'm 6. And my birthday is always on March 2nd.
All right, thank you. It's always on March 2nd.
It's summer, and I'm happy. So we get to go to the beach over the summer, too.
Thank you. Hello, Chloe McElroy again. I have a couple joys and a concern. My joy is just that Fringe Festival is happening right now. If you have not gotten a chance to go see it, they still have shows today, and all of the patron picks, which means everybody picked the most amazing shows that are all happening tomorrow. So I suggest getting out to the Shakespeare Center area to go take in all of the shows that are wonderful. That's a big joy. I also got to go with Alyssa and Caitlin, which was awesome because a lot of years I've had to be able to go with my parents, which is fun. But I also, they don't go to all the shows I want to go to. So it is nice to be able to have other friends that can go to the shows I want. And my concern is about my dad, but I don't know how much he wants to share, but just he's having some eye stuff, so just give some good vibes that way.
My joy is today, it might be my birthday on June 9th, and over the summer I'm going to camp.
Good morning. I know I've shared this before, and tagging along on Miguel's statements earlier. If my concern is that so many of our the voting records, the voting rolls have been purged, and people who tend to vote in your party have been purged, while the numbers for the party that you would usually not vote for have increased. So, check your rolls or check your voting status. Have everybody in your family check, all your friends check.
One of my joys is I'm here today. But I still have a lot of soil left. We bought too much. So we had a couple of people come over, but it looks like they didn't take very much because that's how much we got left. So get in touch with me if you don't know where I live, because I don't want to say that on the internet. Thank you.
I have a concern to share from one of our members. Stephanie Messler Evans is in the hospital. She collapsed at home the other day on Wednesday, Thursday. She has, at this point, not woken up. She's not under sedation, but she has not woken up. She is responsive, and her reflexes are good. They've done an EEG. The results are not back yet. They'll have an MRI later today. There was no sign of stroke in the original scan. They called thankfully Sue was home, called emergency services when she collapsed. So please keep her and the family in your thoughts and prayers, and I will have updates as I get them. So she is at Advent Health East on Lake Underhill, but she is in ICU, so it's still family and minister gets to get in. I had to call her up to make sure that I could get in there. So that's that. I will keep you posted. And then I also have a joy that I have now officially graduated with my doctorate. So, and the ceremony was lovely, and it was great fun to see everybody one last time. So thank you so much for all your support in this 3-year process of getting this done. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Good morning, Kelly Buchanan. I have 2 joys. One, my niece, Diana, from Nashville, Tennessee, came down and visited Miak and I for a week, and we just had a lovely, lovely visit, and it was just nice reconnecting with her. My second joy is that a yoga studio, Y6, opened up in January, which is like 3 miles from my house, and there's kind of a gamification thing going on where they kind of count how many times you go, and you get points and all that kind of stuff, you know that reward program. But anyhow, I'm approaching my 50th visit, so I've attended 50 classes. Today will be the 50th since January. So I'm really happy about that, so thank you. But think about this. There are girls in my class have been there for 100 visits already. So, I mean, I got a long ways to go, but, I'm happy about it.
Good morning, Michelle Flores. I have first a concern and then a couple of joys. My son is kind of struggling with some stuff, and that's very hard sometimes, especially as a parent of adult children that you can only do so much for. So just maybe keep him in your thoughts, positive vibes, all that kind of stuff, and give me some strength. Can send me some strength and positive vibes. And then some of my joy. So I've also been at Fringe. I've seen a lot of amazing shows. Oh my God, it's been amazing. And then I also, and I think many of you know this, I'll have posters next week, but I have a burlesque show, so it is 18 and up, at the Me Theater in Orlando, June 14th. It's a Friday, and it will be really fun. It's going to be like a big variety show, but that's also just celebrate my upcoming birthday and stuff. So thank you.
The last one was awesome. Go see it.
Hi, Claudia Ortiz here, and I have a joy to share. And I have to say that I'm really proud. My oldest son graduated high school as summa cum laude valedictorian. So I feel double proud, double proud because he was homeschooled pretty much the whole time and just did the last semester so he could obtain the official transcript to get to enter college. So I feel like it's a family, success. So I'm very happy. So I just wanted to share. Thank you.
I'm just going to share, two joys. Maddie wanted me to share that we had a game night last night at Margie and Luke's. And let's just say that the younger generation plus two beat the other generation by far, but we still had a great time. So it's just a plug for auction events because they're great fun. And my other joy is that Amelia started her internship in Washington, D.C. on Monday. She's located just a couple blocks from the Capitol, walks by the Supreme Court on her way to work, is absolutely loving it. So she is in her element, and we're super excited for her. So, any online? I'm just checking to see if we got any texts from any online joys and concerns. No? Okay, let's just take a moment to ponder. I think we had a lot of joys today, but let's take a little time to meditate also on those concerns or joys that may have gone unspoken. Amen. Before we get into our time for all ages, we would just like to take the moment at the end of the school year to recognize our RE teachers. We didn't tell them we were going to do this, so sorry about that. But if you'll come up, Jules and Kat, if you'll come up so we can just recognize your hard work during the year. Chloe is not feeling well today, so we'll give her gift next time. But Kat and Jules are basically the running the whole place back there, making sure our kids are making, right? Actually, any of the kids that want to come up and, celebrate. So they keep that whole place running back there, and we could not do it without them. So I wanted to give them a little gift of appreciation from the congregation. Somebody take pictures, please. Picture anybody? Yeah, I like Reverend Tracie. We got some kids. We got a bunch of kids. Ooh, come on, Miles. Join us. Come on, Chase. Yeah, let's get us here. Oh. Look at the furry camera.
I'm trying so hard.
Furry Cameron. Or Reverend Tracie.
I'm trying to get all of them. Okay, I'm working on
I'm gonna mess it up all the time. You guys look awesome. Hey. Stay here. Okay. So we also recognize Reverend Tracie, who did graduate this week. So in addition to flowers, we will have a cake afterward. That was the big surprise. So stick around afterward.
Playing the role of James today is me. And when you see James next, today is his birthday, which is why he is not here. He is gallivanting around Europe, so good for him. Around Europe, I know, right? I need 3 volunteers to act out today's time for all ages. Do I have 3 volunteers to act out? Here comes Margie, here comes Michelle, and Chloe, and Isabel is going to help too. You can come help? Yeah, you want to help me? Okay. All right, so I need a blue jay,
Okay.
a crow, and a raven.
What do you guys feel like being?
All right. All right. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a long drought. It didn't rain for months and months, and most of the little ponds that the birds drank from dried up, leaving them very thirsty. They would spend hours every day looking for little bits of water to drink, and they never felt like they had enough. One day, a blue jay and its friends were flying around looking for water when it spotted a pitcher left out in the palace courtyard. Aha, it thought, pitchers are where the humans keep their water. I'm bound to get a delicious drink from that pitcher. And so it flew down to the courtyard. The blue jay looked inside the pitcher, which was tall with a narrow neck, and sure enough, there was beautiful, clear water down inside. The blue jay stuck its head inside the pitcher to take a drink, but oh no, the water was too deep inside the pitcher, and the blue jay couldn't reach. It stretched its neck further and further, as long as it could go, but to no avail. It couldn't reach the water. Well, what a shame, the blue jay thought. I guess I'll try my luck somewhere else. And the blue jay flew away. A little while later, a crow was out searching for water and spotted the same pitcher. Oh ho, it thought, it's my lucky day. And it flew down to the courtyard to get a drink. Well, when the crow stuck its head down in the pitcher, it found out just what the blue jay had. The water was too far away to reach. It stretched its neck and stretched its neck, but it just couldn't reach the water. Well, this is a conundrum, the crow thought. Maybe if I nudge the pitcher, I can splash the water up where I can reach it. And so the crow knocked the side of the pitcher, and it almost knocked all the way over and spilled all the water into the ground. Thankfully, the crow just managed to stop it from tipping all the way over, but it still wasn't able to get any of the water to drink. Well, I guess that's it then, thought the crow. Might as well look somewhere else. And so the crow flew off. A little while later, a raven was flying by looking for water. This is what you get when you have actors in the congregation. When it spotted the pitcher in the courtyard. Delicious, it thought, and it flew down. Soon, though, the raven discovered what the other birds had. No matter how much I stretch my neck, I can't seem to reach the water in this pitcher, it thought. Maybe if I shake the pitcher a little, I can splash some up to where I can reach. And so the raven tried to shake the pitcher, but like the crow, it learned how dangerous that could be. Oh no, thought the raven, quickly using its head to push the tipping pitcher back into place before it spilled out all over the ground. Well, that won't work. So the raven stood back and looked at the pitcher and thought, and thought, and thought. Thought the raven, there's got to be some way to get that water. I just need to keep at it until I figure it out. The raven looked around the courtyard, hoping to see something that would give it an idea. There were some benches and a table, but those didn't seem very useful. There were some small trees and hanging planters, but those didn't seem very useful. There were several shrubs surrounded by shiny white pebbles, but those, wait, the raven had an idea. The raven flew over to the pebbles around the shrubbery and picked one up in its beak, and then flew back to the pitcher and dropped it in. It didn't seem to make much of a difference, but the raven flew back and grabbed another pebble and dropped it in too. Then another and another. And slowly, very slowly, the water level in the pitcher rose higher and higher until finally the raven could stick its beak in the pitcher and drink all the water it wanted. And so, with perseverance, resourcefulness, and patience, the raven achieved what the other birds had not. Thank you. Thank you to all my fabulous actors. Well done. Thank you.
I bet the raven will share water.
Yes, the raven will share water because, yeah.
Is there another unexpected moral to this story?
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move into our interlude and offering. This is a time when we pass the baskets around. It's an opportunity for you to contribute to the well-being of this organization. This allows us to pay our lovely RE teachers fairly. It allows us to keep the air conditioning on when it's hot and all those good things. So please give generously. We also give 40% of the loose offering to a nonprofit, which is Planned Parenthood at this quarter. So please give generously, and we will have the song led by Janet and Gary again.
Okay, we'll just sing. And Janet will give us 6 measures. Now sing we of the brave of old, who would not sell themselves for gold, yet left us riches manifold. Alleluia. Of those who fought a goodly fight, for liberty, for truth and right, their patient love, their chiefest might. Alleluia. Who, when no gleam did point the way, pressed ever on by night, by day, in spite of pain did ever say, Alleluia. Who long the world's old sorrows bore, and toiled and loved and suffered sore, and being dead live evermore. Alleluia. Are you ready?
All right, we'll go ahead and sing out our young people. We love you and bless you and send you on your way. We love you and bless you today and every day. Our speaker today is our own Reverend Dr. Tracie Barrett, and she'll be speaking to us about Memorial Day, honoring the sacred.
"156 years ago, the first Memorial Day was observed on May 5th, 1868. The Grand Army of the Republic, or the GAR, a powerful political group made up of Union veterans, issued the General Orders Number 11, or the Memorial Day Act. The orders called for flowers to be placed on the graves of those who died fighting in the Civil War. Quote, in this observance, no form or ceremony is prescribed, but posts and comrades will in their own way arrange such fitting services and testimonials of respect as circumstances may permit. Typical programs featured parading veterans and ceremonies punctuated by flags, music, and prayer in the milieu of graves decked with flowers and attended by family and public alike. The order urged the nation never to forget the Civil War's human cost. Quote, we should guard their graves with sacred vigilance. Let pleasant paths invite the coming and going of reverent visitors and fond mourners. Let no neglect, no ravages of time testify to the present or to the coming generations as a people the cost of a free and undivided republic. So the story goes. It's the one I grew up learning about. Perhaps you did too. The 4 years of the Civil War were deadly. Somewhere between 650,000 to 750,000 soldiers died, along with undetermined civilians. The Civil War was the deadliest military conflict in history. taking a moment to come together and remember, taking a moment to honor losses. Not that everyone came together on both sides to honor the war dead. No, we know that the end of the Civil War did not end the terror that the newly freed people experienced. There's another story that floats around about Memorial Day. It's another one I heard growing up. It's the one that says in 1866, 2 years before the GAR Order Number 11, that groups of women decided the graves of the Confederate soldiers should be honored with wreaths and flowers, and that we have Memorial Day today through them and the Confederate Memorial Day on April 26th. I'm often reminded of the phrase from the musical Hamilton, "Who lives, who dies, who tells your story?" Historian David W. Blight said, "At the end of the Civil War, the dead were everywhere, some in half-buried coffins and some visible only as unidentified bones strewn on the killing fields of Virginia or Georgia. Americans, North and South, faced an enormous spiritual and logistical challenge of memorialization. The dead were visible by their massive absence." According to Blight, if we had lost the same number of Americans in Vietnam as we did collectively in the Civil War, the Vietnam Memorial would have 4 million names. 2 stories of how Memorial Day came along, and they work nicely together. They don't contradict one another. The North had their observances and the South had theirs. And that's the story we know. But is it the full story? The Washington Race Course and Jockey Club in Charleston, South Carolina, has an almost forgotten connection to Memorial Day. Every February, starting in 1792, the city's elite class would gather for a festival of horse racing and jumping and showing off to one another. It served as a parade ground for Confederate martial brigades, and in the covered areas of the perimeter, gentlemen could settle their duels under shelter. And it served as the auction site for property for the upper classes. During the Civil War, however, the race course was turned into a prison camp for Union soldiers. They kept the soldiers in the inside track in the open air. 257 men died from exposure and sickness in the camp and were buried in a mass grave behind the bandstand. In the spring of 1865, Charleston fell to the Union Army. The city was in ruin. Most of the white residents had fled by February. According to Blight, among the first troops to enter and march up Meeting Street singing liberation songs was the 21st U.S. Colored Infantry. Their commander accepted the formal surrender of the city. Now, one of the first actions that the newly emancipated African Americans took was to exhume each of the 257 Union soldiers in the mass grave. A group of about 25 to 28 men from African American churches came to do the solemn work. Each soldier received a proper coffin and a headboard with any information the workers could find about the soldier. And they then received a proper burial in the abandoned race course. The group also constructed a 10-foot whitewashed fence around the new cemetery, and at the entrance they built an arch that read, "Martyrs of the Race Course." Once all this was complete, a commemoration was planned. On May 1st, 1865, at 9 a.m., it began. The Charleston Daily News reported the next day, quote, "The ceremonies of the dedication of the ground where are buried 257 Union soldiers took place in the presence of an immense gathering yesterday. Fully 10,000 persons were present, mostly of the colored population. The day's activities began when a large crowd made a procession to the cemetery." And Blight describes this day by saying, "The procession stepped off, led by 3,000 black school children, carrying armloads of roses and singing John Brown's Body." Who remembers that from my Mother's Day sermon, that's the Battle Hymn of the Republic? The children were followed by several hundred black women with baskets of flowers, wreaths, and crosses, and then came black men marching in cadence, followed by contingents of the Union infantry and other black and white citizens. As many as possible gathering in the cemetery enclosure, a children's choir sang "We'll Rally Around the Flag" and the Star-Spangled Banner, and several spirituals, before several black ministers read from Scripture. No record survives of which biblical passages rung out in the warm spring air, but the spirit of Leviticus 25 was surely present at those burial rites, for it is the Jubilee. It shall be holy unto you. In the year of this Jubilee, he shall return every man unto his own possession. The flowers were scattered on top of and around the graves, with the New York Tribune reporting, when all had left, the holy mounds, the tops, the sides, and the spaces between them were one mass of flowers. Not a speck of earth could be seen as the breeze wafted the sweet perfumes from them outside and beyond. There were few eyes among those who knew the meaning of the ceremony that were not dim with tears of joy. After the procession, the gathered people spread out on the infield and picnicked, listened to speeches, and watched the soldiers drill. Barrett says, among the full brigade of Union infantry participating was the famous 54th Massachusetts and the 34th and 104th U.S. colored troops, who performed a special double-columned march around the gravesite. He continues, the war was over, and Decoration Day had been founded by African Americans in a ritual of remembrance and consecration. The war, they had boldly announced, had been all about the triumph of their emancipation over a slaveholders' republic, and not about states' rights, defense of home, nor merely soldiers' valor and sacrifice. A ritual of remembrance and consecration. Remembering the soldiers who died by honoring their humanity, sacredness, and sacrifices. Consecrating the holy ground where they died and were buried. This is the purpose of Memorial Day, to remember, to consecrate. I will also add that Memorial Day is a time to reconsecrate as well. What do I mean? Well, it's a time to consecrate ourselves to the work that we are called to do. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to work towards a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Reverend Mary Geer reminds us, our principles ask us to remember the ancient and modern stories of war, to learn from them, to clarify our values, and to use our deepest spiritual grounding to create the peace that comes from justice. Our principles ask us to create new stories. But let's review those dates, shall we? Decoration Day at the Martyrs of the Racecourse, May 1st, 1865. Confederate Memorial Day, April 26th, 1866. Memorial Day Act, May 30th, 1868. So how do we hear about the later ones and not the earlier ones? Back to Hamilton for a moment. Who tells your story? When the white Charlestonians came back, they suppressed the retelling of the first Decoration Day in favor of their version of Confederate Memorial Day. According to David Blight, but a measure of how white Charlestonians suppressed from memory this founding in favor of their own creation of the practice later came 51 years afterward, when the president of the Ladies' Memorial Association of Charleston received an inquiry about the May 1st, 1865 parade. A United Daughters of the Confederacy official from New Orleans wanted to know if it was true that blacks had engaged in such a burial rite. Mrs. S.C. Beckworth responded tersely, I regret that I was unable to gather any official information in answer to this. In the struggle over memory and meaning in any society, some stories just get lost, while others attain mainstream dominance. Detroit's Black Information Network found a 1937 book that incorrectly claimed James Redpath, the leader of the freedmen's education in the region, organized the commemoration all by himself. Redpath was the only responsible, though, for organizing the speeches. The publication also downplayed Black Americans' actions by calling them, quote, black hands which only knew that the dead they were honoring had raised them from a condition of servitude. Wow. Blight reminds us some stories endure, some disappear, some are rediscovered in dusty archives, the pages of old newspapers, and in oral history. All such stories as the first Decoration Day are but a prelude to future reckonings. All memory is prelude. And he discovered this by finding an article about Decoration Day and then kept digging. We are called to work for justice, especially here, especially now. Justice can look like many things. The martyrs of the racecourse fought and died for justice. Justice that said humans are not property. Their work wasn't perfect. Justice work often isn't perfect. Justice also looks like the historian who found the information about the original Declaration Day and researched it. And this allowed the stories to be heard this many years later. This justice work also isn't perfect. But as my teaching pastor used to say, don't let perfection get in the way of good enough. It's easy to stay back and not get involved in justice work due to the fear of not getting it right. I know, because I've been there. I mean, sometimes I'm still there, so I get it. And yet, the work is not finished. I hope one day it is. I really do. And until it is, the work is ours to do, however you can, wherever you can. Let us make that part of our remembrance and consecration of this day. I want to close with the words of Nicole McKay. We gather to remember those who could not grow old and those forced to grow old long before their time. We gather to mourn and grieve with one another all of our losses, the people, the stories, the loved ones, and the futures that could have been. We gather to do the hard work of facing the difficult realities of our present and our past, where there is conflict, violence, war, and hatred. We gather to hold space for silence as we try to make meaning of our history to help us work for peace and justice today. We gather to rekindle our source of hope for our future by recognizing in one another our shared humanity as we join in a concerted commitment for a better tomorrow. We gather because we need community to do all of this holy work. In all our work, we need not be alone. That the martyrs of the race course procession was not done by one person. It was done by a community. This Memorial Day, may we rededicate ourselves to finish the work for justice and equity. And may we remember that we are together in community for that work. Amen. May it be so, and blessed be.
Thank you, Reverend Tracie. We're going to go ahead and extinguish the chalice, and while I'm doing that, we'll say the words on the screen. Our closing music is hymn number 131, which I will be leading. Please rise as you're able, and we'll get started. This should be pretty familiar. When Janet asked me to help with this one, I was like, I got this one. You're going to give me two measures or not? Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. I have a couple of closing thoughts today. Thinking about all the graduations that are happening. We have several members of our congregation who've had children graduate this past season, and we want to think about how exciting their futures will be. I also wanted to take this opportunity to remember the students that didn't have a chance to graduate, including our Parkland high schoolers who would have been graduating college, and the children of Sandy Hook Elementary who would have been graduating from high school this year. And all the young people affected by gun violence and mental illness who will not have any graduations this year. So let us hold them in our hearts as we move into the world and make a difference. And finally, from Reverend Dr. Wallace Grant Fisk, who's a military chaplain, peace activist, instructor, and universalist. The difference between patriotism and nationalism is that a patriot is proud of his country for what it does, and the nationalist is proud of his country no matter what it does. So as we go forth, please remember all those in your hearts, those who have fought for us, and go in peace. And join us for some cake afterward. Thank you.